So ladies and gentlemen, it's a gift to be able to be here in Israel with you and to really enjoy the moment of what it means to build partnerships. We think about the importance of where we are today and the reality that we're facing, and now more than ever, partnerships that are going to drive job creation and economic growth between Michigan and Israel are so important, and that's what the MIBA does, and I'm really grateful for a team here in Israel and a team in Michigan that does this every day to connect with Israeli companies and to really drive innovation into Michigan in the mobility sector as well as 5 other sectors to build partnerships and bridge the gap. And I'm joined today by 3 amazing leaders in the Michigan mobility ecosystem who are committed to doing great things to drive economic growth. Joining me today is the State of Michigan's Chief Mobility Officer, Justine Johnson, and she'll introduce herself in a minute. We have Chris Thomas. Chris is with a VC firm, Assembly Ventures, and then Joe Tenbusch is from Magna. All of these 3 individuals want to give you a lens into how you, as an Israeli company, can expand into Michigan. And so today is just the start of a discussion. If we have not met today, I would encourage you to come to the Michigan booth in the back. We also have really cool bags for you if you want as well, so you can take a bag home with you. But today's about partnerships. So without further ado, I want to take a minute and I'll start with, I guess, Justine, if you want to first just introduce yourself very, quickly, and then I'll throw the first question to you. So, Justine, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here. I just want to first start off by saying that I am Justine Johnson. I am the Chief Mobility Officer for the state of Michigan, and I have the honor and the privilege to really lead the first mobility office in the United States. One thing about our office that is clear is that we are focused on moving people, goods, and information over land, water, and air. So if that is an area that you are focused on, happy to bring you to Michigan and happy to have your business expanded in our great state.
Thank you, Justine. Hey, Chris, over to you for a brief introduction.
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry I'm not there in person, but very happy that I could join you from Detroit. So I'm Chris Thomas, co-founder and partner with Assembly Ventures. We define mobility, I always love mobility definitions, as the physical and digital movement of people, goods, data, and energy across air, land, sea, and space. So holistic movement around the world. We exist for 2 very specific theses. One, we believe that the East and the Western world are bifurcating, beginning with the United States and China, but East and West holistically, and the logistics, supply chain, manufacturing opportunities that will come out of that bifurcation will be pronounced for allied shoring and onshoring around the world and throughout the West. And we believe strongly in the legacy industrial centers of the economic West. So Stuttgart, Turin, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Tokyo, Seoul. If we can have the right partnerships, acquisitions, and investment within those industrial centers, but tying them together with the entrepreneurial centers, the Tel Avivs of the world, we believe we can make a huge difference and move the world in the direction that we hope to move it.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And then Joe, how about a brief introduction from you as well?
Of course, thanks, Scott. I wish I were there in person, but next time in 2025. So my name's Joe Tenbusch. I'm an investment manager with Magna Technology Investments, which is the corporate venture capital arm of Magna International. We're one of the largest automotive tier 1 suppliers. I like to joke we're at tier 0.5 because we actually manufacture vehicles, making us kind of unique in the automotive industry. And we invest across that entire automotive and mobility value chain, from electrification, ADAS and autonomy, new materials, and then even into new mobility. So kind of to Chris's point, moving away from being a traditional automotive supplier to looking at these new methods of transit. I will add we are very active in Israel, have a few portfolio companies and fund investments within the country, and I've been there many times and really look forward to this discussion.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. So again, thanks for getting up early to my teammates in the great state of Michigan. I know it's early for you, but that really demonstrates Team Michigan's commitment and the opportunity for Israeli companies to make it in Michigan. You can be successful in Michigan, and our goal is to help you be as successful as you possibly can. So first question, as I think about the opportunity for Israeli companies, how about you, to our Chief Mobility Officer, who truly understands the broad landscape of Michigan's mobility ecosystem, Justine, in 3 minutes or less, how about if you talk about the opportunity for Israeli companies to be successful in Michigan and the mobility industry writ large? But 3 minutes.
Sure, thank you. Okay, we'll watch the clock and make sure that I'm done. But I will say Michigan is definitely a state where dreams do become a reality in mobility innovation. I think one of the most important parts of our work is making sure that businesses have a chance to grow and scale and thrive, and really connecting to the global location of access to talent and the supply chain, really to grow and expand business operations. One of the unique things is that there are more than 1,400 foreign companies operating with more than 5,000 locations across the state of Michigan. We truly see ourselves as really this gateway for businesses around the world to expand. One of the unique things about our office is that we have something called a My Future Mobility Plan, which is really a testament of our commitment to growing a stronger state economy, having access to a safe, reliable, and equitable and environmentally friendly transportation solutions for all residents, and as well as providing solutions for mobility innovation across the globe. I will say, I think I have maybe 2 more minutes about our office, is that, we do have the pleasure of focusing on mobility innovation through a number of our projects and funding programs. For example, we have something called the Michigan Mobility Funding Platform, which provides grants to companies that are looking to test and deploy new technologies and innovations in our state. And so I just want things and a few grant programs that are available, and this is open to companies across the globe. If you are seeking grant funding, we will provide grant funding as long as you have a project that it will be tested, deployed, and launched in the state of Michigan. And if you need help to find that location to test and deploy your project, our Office of Future Mobility and Electrification can provide you those critical connections across the state. And so we have a prototype grant program which supports makers who are building parts and pieces of form factors of today, but also form factors of tomorrow. So if you're looking to build the next car, the next e-bike, the next e-scooter, the next vehicle, boat, aircraft, advanced air mobility, drone, this is a place for you to apply for these types of funds. We also have an advanced air mobility activation fund. If you are into building infrastructure for advanced air mobility, including electrification, this is another great opportunity. If you're looking to test and deploy new solutions as it relates to commercial drone activity, this is another really important opportunity that I want to make sure that folks are aware of that are provided throughout our state. We also do have, I'd say, a strong relationship with companies like Electrion, which is an Israeli-based company that we are proud to tout the first wireless EV charging roadway in the United States as a result of our partnership with companies like Electrion. This would not have been possible without this strong relationship. And so I really want to make sure that companies that are based in Israel know that we are open to collaboration. We are open to going fast and growing together. And we really want to make sure that you all are supported along the way. And so our office is not just about unlocking a space for innovation, but making sure that you as a founder, as an early stage company, and as an industry incumbent have a place to really grow and to thrive and to have a welcoming environment for your business. So in the state of Michigan, we are focused on people, places, and projects that really do ensure that all segments can make it in Michigan. We do believe that it is truly the power of our people, our constituency, and as well as the potential for places and promising projects to become a reality. And so if you are someone who is a maker, a believer, a dreamer, and a doer, I highly encourage you to consider Michigan. I highly encourage you to reach out to learn more. There's so many different programs and initiatives happening, and we want to make sure that you take full advantage of those opportunities as well. So thank you.
Yeah, Justine.
2 minutes, 55 seconds. Perfect. I timed it.
There you go, Chris. So great comments there, just to really reinforce the different types of tools and resources available for Israeli companies from a grant perspective. Chris, I want to flip it over to you as we talk about just kind of, you think about the investment space, and probably specifically, what advice would you give to mobility companies right now as they're looking to raise funds in today's environment?
I mean, I think it's a really interesting environment. In my 15 years investing in the global mobility segment, there's a lot of consternation around, can we find the capital we need to grow, especially coming from markets where export of both technology and services is going to be a big part of your business plan. But deals are still being done. We actually are going to be announcing our first Israeli deal here in the coming weeks, which I'm incredibly excited about. The founder is unbelievable. The approach, I think, is going to be incredibly important for Western industry and automotive. And it's one in which you're just investing in amazing technology and entrepreneurs and individuals who are under-promising and over-delivering. They're hitting what they promise again and again as you continue to build this through. But the two pieces of advice that I'd give you as you're sitting there today, and I have so many friends that are in the crowd, individuals I've had the chance to build businesses with across Israel and across the world over the last decade, is keep fighting. Keep fighting. What you are building and what you are doing and the importance of the Israeli ecosystem within the broader West is incredibly important. And it's one in which I know not only are you dealing with the trials of building businesses and raising capital, but so much going on around you with your country and your family. Keep fighting. And I believe strongly the Israeli entrepreneur and the Israeli entrepreneurial mentality of working together in teams, building things, as teams and really deploying around the world, that will seize the day. And two, I would root every capital raise in your values. And what I mean by that is right now we are talking a lot, and I'm talking a lot about the geopolitics of movement. The geopolitics of movement around the world right now are very real. Who you take capital from and how we're actually looking at growing these partnerships across the West is going to be incredibly important. So don't take capital today because it's easy capital. Fight for hard capital that is going to be given to you by individuals who trust you, want to partner with you, and build great things over not just the next quarter, the next year, but the coming decades. That's what I'd leave you with, Scott.
Yeah, Chris, great comments. Build great things, building great things. How do we do that, right? We build partnerships built on teamwork and transparency and trust. At the core, we're people. And I think, we think about, just the importance of how we work together. A couple weeks ago, we hosted a Women in Mobility trade mission. For those folks that know Orly Gruper, Tahan, so we brought 11 high-powered, awesome women to Detroit, and we hosted them, and we met with great partners. And one of those partners that met with our group of awesome women from Israel was Magna. And Joe and Chris and Justine and a lot of our automotive partners in Michigan opened their doors and opened their arms to meet with these 11 awesome women in the mobility space to build partnerships. But Joe, oftentimes, and I think what we see is a lot of Israeli companies want to go directly to the OEMs. And that can be hard. It can be hard to get into that space because the OEMs are so busy and they have so much going on. Can you talk about how it is, what's it like to work with a tier one supplier and what's an advantage or some advantages of that opportunity? And again, shout out to Magna for opening their doors as a company to these awesome Israeli women that came into town a couple weeks ago. So Joe, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. And thank you for the Women in Mobility delegation as well. That was a great event for Magna. So to your question, we get this often. If you look at kind of how different companies invest and how we look at the mobility ecosystem more generally, there's pros and cons to going both to an OEM and a tier one. I think the biggest difference that you really see is where do these companies really focus and invest? So if you look at a tier one, usually a little more upstream on the technology product side, whereas the OEM is a bit more focused on the customer-facing aspects of the technology itself, which is great for certain companies, but not the best for others. And if you look at a company such as Magna or any other large tier one, they largely invest and look at technologies for really two purposes. One is to kind of disrupt their core business before going into a full new market, and then the other is entering into new markets. So looking beyond just being an automotive supplier, being more of a service provider. And what I would say is when you look at tier ones, we offer access to more customers than you could by going to an OEM. So going to an OEM, you may be locked into one customer, say in Europe, North America, or Asia, whereas a large tier one can introduce you to all of the OEMs globally. And that provides a lot of advantages, especially for early stage companies that really don't have the personnel to pursue these larger clients and their sales. And it really provides a good situation for companies looking to scale outside of Israel, because if you look at our manufacturing footprint, 350 manufacturing sites across 28 countries, there's a lot that you can leverage in terms of a tier one's capital before actually going to market. Now, all of that being said, I still encourage startups to kind of go to the OEMs. Automotive is a very long-term play. It takes oftentimes 2 to 3 years just to get comfortable with the technology, and another 3 years to design it in. It's difficult to do all of that 5 to 6 year process to actually get into a vehicle. So kind of working with the OEMs, working with the tier ones to help de-risk that, and more importantly, show a path to commercialization. The ideal situation is you're working with an OEM, you're working with a tier one, which may be required by the OEM, and then you have a clear path to how to get into the automotive market. And that's where working with a company like Magna can actually add a lot of value. You see that path. You see how can it scale, how can it move from Israel to Europe, to North America, to Asia very quickly in a way that would be much quicker than trying to grow your business itself. So that's where the partnerships really come in. And then last comment on that, access to our talent. We have a lot of engineers, a lot of salespeople, especially within Michigan, but really globally to help you scale and meet your growth. And with that, I'll hand it back to you, Scott.
Yeah, Joe, thank you. So, you talked about a pathway, right? And I think part of this is we, again, reinforce what all of these leaders here that are, that are on the screen and that we are speaking with today. This is the tip of the opportunity for Israeli companies. And we think about your ability to develop a pathway. The state of Michigan and our partners from all across the state, Chris and Joe and Justine, are all interested in connecting more, as are their teams. So as we think about next steps for you, let's get to the talk list today. How do we get to the real meat and to the opportunity as we move forward together? So the MIBA, my team and I, we stand ready to support Israeli companies. We have a pavilion in collaboration with our partners from the state and from our corporate partners in here in EcoMotion, right around the corner here. And we have opportunities for you to do 20-minute B2B sessions with some of these thought leaders and others who are making themselves available for the remainder of the afternoon. And if for some reason you don't have an opportunity to connect today, make no mistake, we still want to connect with you. We stand ready to come speak. If you want to come talk to us at our booth, we're certainly happy to have a conversation, and we can follow up with you, all with the goal of helping to build partnerships to really support the opportunity for your company to make it in Michigan and really scale and drive jobs and economic growth between Michigan and Israel, so we can do the things we want to do together and to scale. And when we think, I'll pivot back to the 11 awesome women that came into our state just a week and a half or two ago, but then the other delegations that we've hosted in the past, right? When we show people what Michigan has to offer and what the city of Detroit has to offer, and you think about Electrion as a great example of that partnership. We first connected to Electrion it was in November of 2020. And then from there, we helped them to pull together a pilot project through the state of Michigan, along with our partners here today. And where do they stand? They have an in-the-road charging system in the city of Detroit, in the ground today. And all of that was done collaboratively through teamwork. And it's folks like on this panel today and others who we want to connect you with, who stand ready to really drive Israeli innovation from the startup nation into Michigan. So with that, I'm truly grateful for your time. I'm grateful to our panelists. If we could give our panelists who stand with Israel a round of applause. Thank you, Chris and Joe and Justine. I'm truly grateful as a friend of yours as well for your collaboration. Thank you for getting up early. And with that, thank you for your time.